Heavy snow has battered the lower South Island, causing dismay for farmers and delight for school children. For the second day of the school holidays, many woke to a winter wonderland, icy roads and a polar blast that left many reaching for their thermals. Otago Southland reporter Tess Brunton hit the road to see how those in the Clutha district were faring.
The snow came in waves, bombarding Dunedin streets with thick flakes before settling on rooftops and gardens. Driving south, the sky darkened as squalls of near-horizontal snow battered cars and livestock, only to be replaced by blue sky minutes later. Snow settled on the roadside, nearby hills and on the backs of some sheep, cows and horses. Patches of green grass stood out, lying in the shadow of tall trees. Robert Gervin has been farming sheep in Waiora for 22 years. While lambing is nearly finished for most of his ewes, his hoggets have just started.
When I went out this morning, I thought, oh no, what am I going to see? But the mums are pretty smart and they've found a lot of shelter. And those that have had lambs overnight they're in behind rushes and behind other shelter, so that wasn't too bad. But it's pretty hard to actually see what was going on though, because as I said, they're in shelter, so there could be a few surprises out there later on.
He says it's a balancing act between not disturbing your stock and checking they're safe and warm.
It's not very nice at all, because at this time of year you want the weather to be getting better, you want to be growing grass, you don't want cold weather, you want your stock to be enjoying themselves a lot, so it's not very nice at all. It disrupts what you're doing.
But Robert Gervin says not everyone in his family was disappointed to see snow.
So our kids were out this morning, they were having a snowball fight, and I've got a 12-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl, so the 12-year-old boy, he's got a much better throwing arm than the 8-year-old girl, so they went up and saw the pet lambs and had a snowball fight with them, and were throwing snow at the pet lambs from last year, that is. So yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had if you're a young person and you still enjoy snow and your hands aren't too cold.
Waiora resident Kathy has been living in the lakeside town for the past 16 months.
This is the first time apparently in 6 years, so it's actually settled and it's awesome. Awesome for the kids in school holidays. They'll be having a bowl. Yeah, they've been sledding down the hills.
Further down the road in Milton, a snowman stood proudly in the centre of a white Taylor park, a carrot for its nose, black rock buttons and tree branch arms. But a strong gust of wind later and its head was sent toppling, landing with a wet thud. At a Milton petrol station, Stuart Calder and Matthew Seymour pulled up on their motorbikes after a hard morning riding through 8 inches of snow along the back roads from Dunedin. They're doing a 5,000 kilometre ride around the South Island, starting from Nelson, Tasman, and finding as much gravel road along the way as they can. Stuart Calder says they were sitting in a Dunedin coffee shop this morning, considering whether to hit the road.
A couple of flurries which came through, and it was then perfectly sunny in between. And we thought, oh, well, it's sunny now, so we may as well go. And of course, we'd only gone about 5 kilometres and we hit the first flurry again and the sky goes black. And the road got progressively worse and then turned to gravel, and the snow got thicker and thicker, and there was nobody had done anything, of course, nothing can be cleared up there. And we haven't seen, I think we've seen 2 cars all morning up there.
Matthew Seymour says the coastal road via Taieri Mouth could get a bit hairy when blizzard-like conditions took hold.
We both dropped our bikes because it was slippery uphill, and the bikes have got electronic stuff that stops you skidding, but it also makes you fall over.
So we've fallen over a few times, but then we pick them up and panic a bit and carry on. Yeah.
But he had something special up his sleeve to keep the cold away.
I've got a base layer of merino, and then I've got an overlayer of electric underwear which plugs into the bike's dashboard, and it has a little control panel where I can select the desired temperature. So I was at about 26 degrees as we rode through -1, and it connects to my gloves, so it's very old manny, but I love it.
Otago Peninsula resident James Vosa was less than delighted when he found out some flights out of Dunedin were cancelled.
It's insane. I've never seen it like this before. Like, the sheep and alpacas are just loving it, but myself and the wife are not loving it so much. She's supposed to fly to Christchurch right now, so she's getting a bus instead.
Paul Lecomte has been living on the peninsula for 20 years.
Winter we see him a lot. We probably get this 5 or 6 times a winter, but not in spring. Timing has made this one fun, that's for sure.
He and his family wanted to make the most of the rare day.
Oh, they're loving it, school holidays and all. I'm doing the recce to come up here to see if it was worth getting the toboggan out, and apparently it is, so we're going to go and get the toboggan out and the boys are going to have some fun in a minute.
Right, kids take full advantage of the snow on school holidays.
Exactly.
Don't need to go to Queenstown.
No, save the petrol, eh?
Most of the severe weather warnings and watches have ended, with warmer conditions expected over the coming days. In Milton for Checkpoint, Tess Brunton, TNA.